area is a magnet for college students interested in a career in science, technology, engineering, and math, collectively known as STEM. And once they graduate, Governor Deval Patrick wants to keep as many of them in Massachusetts as possible. But is there too much emphasis being placed on STEM? Lauren Landry reports on technology and education for Bosnino. Welcome. So is there a downside to placing too much emphasis on STEM?
I do think so. So a whole article stemmed last week, actually from Governor Deval Patrick's new economic development plan. And from that plan, he announced a global entrepreneur in residence program. And while it's great, because we definitely do want to keep more talent in here, the focus is primarily being put on students who are working solely in technology. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, there's a lot of students who are interested in entrepreneurship but are focusing more on the arts, creative, more of the creative kind of majors, and those aren't always being taken into consideration. Unfortunately, critical thinking happens across all disciplines, and so by only focusing so much on STEM, we're forgetting there's a whole other part to entrepreneurship, that makes a startup as vibrant as it can be.
Okay, so when you say there's too much emphasis on that, what is the downside effect for the creative? Not enough money being put into it? What? I mean, what's not happening because there's too much emphasis on STEM?
Every speech you hear today about, what areas in the economy are the big growth sectors, it is a lot of engineering. And I'm not to say that STEM is not important. I do think it is very important. I'm very bullish on, there's a lot of great programs that are teaching, young girls how to code and those sort of things. But unfortunately, as we look forward to what needs to be happening in education, the conversation repeatedly only goes to STEM, whether it be from Obama or schools around the area, and no one's really stepping up and taking a stand and saying the arts deserve some attention as well.
And now Governor Patrick has this kind of creative loophole he's created for immigrants. If they go through a STEM program in school, they can stay here on either an extended visa or some kind of a permanent situation.
Yes. Yeah. So essentially, they're working with the Mass Tech Collaborative, but higher ed institutions right now, there's no stopping point as to how many visas they can allot students. So if they are hiring these international students as entrepreneurs in residence, then we can kind of go around the immigration laws that they have now. But unfortunately, right now, most of the students that are being considered are more the technical talent. I interviewed a few folks who are currently battling with visa issues, and the problem that they're having is that they're battling with these because they are more marketing, they're working less in the engineering field, and so a lot of students will actually change their major so that they can be more desirable and so they can get these visas. I think 85,000 H-1B visas are allotted. They reached their cap within 5 days, I think? Yeah, wow. The 2015 cap hit in 5 days. So
okay, so we were looking at some studies on this and about jobs in general and careers, and a recent study finds that, frankly, top jobs in 2014, many of them are actually in STEM areas. So I'm still having a hard time here. If this is where the jobs are and this is where the money is, what's wrong with putting the emphasis there?
So when you think of all of the different startups, the goal here really is to bring more startups, bring more economic growth to the community. But the problem is that, we've got all these great technological devices and, we're reaching for our iPhones every day. Mm-hmm. The only reason why we're reaching for our iPhones every day, and I love our iPhones so much, is because they're accessible, because they're beautifully designed. And, Steve Jobs, who's at the intersection of all of this Apple creation, not only are his products great and functional, but they're beautiful. And that beautiful mind requires a designer, that requires an art student. A lot of these startups, you look at all of these great technological innovations that are coming out of Massachusetts, and they're amazing, but the only reason why they're being, they can be so well received, they need to have someone who can take all of the data and disseminate it, make it look great, whether it be designing a website, designing a mobile app. Also, you can have the greatest company in the world, but if you can't actually pitch your company with eloquence and grace and use those communication skills that they taught you in school, it doesn't matter how great your company is, because no one is still, going to really latch onto the message and understand what it is that you're trying to get across.
Well, it's kind of funny how these pendulums swing, because, of course, when I was in college, all the emphasis was on the liberal arts, the creative arts. That's what the focus was. Mm-hmm. Nothing geared towards science, technology, engineering was considered, for nerds only and certainly men only.
Yeah. I mean, I am still a very big proponent of STEM. I'm not to say that it shouldn't be emphasized, but as a liberal arts major myself and heavily in the communications, I do think that it's just something that we need to consider. That's why the acronym STEAM has become so popular.
Oh, what does that mean now?
So science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. So it's really just putting arts into the equation. I'm not to say there should be one or the other. I just think that there should be, an and in there, not an or. So instead of just saying you need to be an entrepreneur or you can be an artist, why can't you be, as RISD, the Rhode Island School of Design likes to call it, entrepreneur?
Don't we need an H in there, too, for history? I mean, you got to,
You can start throwing a lot of other letters in there, yeah.
All right, interesting study. All right, Lauren Landry, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your coming.